Hi there, and welcome to today's episode of How the Game Was Won. Today we're looking at the game between Nakamura and Jobava in the FIDE Grand Prix in Tashkent on the 21st of October 2014. The initial part of the game followed the normal lines of the Burger Indian defense, starting with d4, e6, c4, bishop b4 plus, knight d2, knight f6, a3, bishop e7, knight gf3, castles, e4, d6. Now, here we must note that in previous games the moves, for instance, d5 for instance, followed by e5 and knight fd7 have been a heated battleground on the pro circuit of late, and white has been scoring well with both of these, especially following this position up with playing either b4 or bishop d3. But here Jobava decides to take the game away from what are the known paths, and which is why he chose to play d6 instead. So in the game, the game continued with white playing a seventh move of bishop d3, and here it must be noted that instead of bishop d3, bishop e2 is subtly different, but the way the position handles is across future moves is very much different to the way bishop d3 handles. Either which way, the game continued with black playing e5 and white castling short. Now, the other possibility would have been winning the pawn by playing winning the e5 pawn by playing d takes e5, d takes e5, and knight takes e5. But what will happen there is that although white picks up the pawn, black gives black a lot of activity and frees up black's cramped position. So whether black will be able to translate that into recovering the pawn down the line is a totally different issue. But Nakamura in this instant didn't want to test his opponent's theoretical knowledge. Either way, the game continued with black playing e takes d4, knight takes d4, knight c6, knight takes c6, bishop takes c6, and white takes the knight out to b3. Now, black's crippled pawn structure here gives him a good hold on the center, but his main weakness is the square at c6. And Nakamura wastes no time in trying to exploit that weakness. Black played rook e8. Here it must be noted that if black had instead played a5, it would not have been able to keep the knight out of a5, because obviously white wanting to get the knight to a5 to put pressure on that c6 square, and playing black playing a5 would not have been able to keep the knight out, because all white would have been able to do is to play bishop d2, which then in turn places additional pressure on the black pawn that would be on a5. So returning to the game at hand, after black played rook e8, white continued with knight a5, bishop d7, bishop f4, bishop f8, rook e1, h6, h3, and here is effectively the first place where Jobava goes a bit astray by playing knight h7, which is probably because he had no clear idea of what to do in this position, and is now sort of without any really clear plan. Possibly the idea is that he's wanting to get the knight to e6 via g5. Let me just get that. But it's all rather creative to me as far as getting the knight to there is concerned, but it'll cost him a further 2 tempi to get it there, which is a bit too slow for black in his already cramped position. But anyway, in this situation, white responds immediately with a central thrust to e5, which makes sense with a push through the center, while black's knight is So the game continued with black playing bishop g4, and white rolled on with queen b1, backing his queen behind the bishop on the strong b1 h7 diagonal. Black continued with rook e5, bishop takes a8, picking up the hanging rook, but the queen still maintains the pressure down the strong diagonal to h7. And black takes a3, rook takes e5, queen takes e5, and the knight comes back down to b3. Although the computer over here only gives white a slight advantage, it's clear that from Nakamura's advantage of space, not to mention the rook that's been picked up, there's a really strong attacking position rolling along here. Black continues with bishop takes f5, bishop f5, queen c1, queen b2, and here, just to have a look at the position again, black's bunch of pawns, pair of bishops, past a pawn, give him some compensation, but at the end of the day, with precise play, a rook down will simply in the end be too much. White continues with knight e2, bishop b4, knight e4, and here we've got the situation where black has got a certain amount of pressure mounting on the queen side, and he needs to be maintaining that pressure to be able to keep up some degree of compensation for the rook. But here Jobava makes what I feel to be a tactical error by exchanging queens on c1, and with the queens off the board, that just makes white's job so much easier, because keeping the queens on the board, black would be able to be maintaining some pressure. I think it was the late Bobby Fischer that always used to talk about is that when it comes to exchanging pieces, the side that's got the material advantage, that advantage grows stronger and stronger with each piece exchange that happens. Obviously, white comes back with rook takes c1, a5, king f1, and now the closing down the end game with the rook advantage is relatively simple. And although black continued with bishop d7, it's just bring the king out into play and wrap things up for the rook. Although there's the passed pawns in the A rank, the rook is more than capable of dealing with what's happening there. So we carried on with king a2, bishop a4, king d3, bishop b3, knight c3, a2, and rook a1. And in this situation, the Jobava decided to resign because there's really nothing much he can do with a forcing combination of, for instance, king f8, knight takes a2, bishop takes a2, rook a2, and then you have a really strong endgame for white, because even though there's the opposite color bishops, the rook will be able to carry things through relatively easily. So that's how the game was won. See you next time for the next game in the series. Please remember to click the like button down below, share this out amongst your chess friends, and please click the subscribe button as well. That way you can stay up to date with new games as I post them on a week-to-week basis. See you next time. Cheers.